Good evening. Tonight we are discussing a winter storm this weekend as we go through the day tomorrow and overnight hours tomorrow night into Sunday. We are looking at a minor risk here of some icing in portions of Maryland. And we will discuss all of that here right after this. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this live storm coverage here again. We are coming live here an awful lot lately to talk about some of these storms, and I don't see that ending anytime soon as the future kind of moves on here through the next couple weeks. So right now, tonight, we're going to be talking about a winter storm that we're tracking into the northeast for tomorrow into Sunday, and what you guys can expect up there. We do have a couple friends here in New York that are going to be affected by this, and I believe they are not traveling there this weekend, but they will be in another couple days here. So we're going to keep them in the loop here as well as our friends and family in Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland. We want to keep them informed as well too. So we're going to kind of move on. Again, nothing going on here in Myrtle Beach, so we're going to look elsewhere. We want to definitely keep the families of the victims of yesterday's tornado in our prayers. They had 2 fatalities yesterday, and 3 injuries reported so far with at least one of those tornadoes, which came out to be an EF2. The National Weather Service came out today with their reports, preliminary report as an EF2 with maximum sustained winds of 135 miles per hour. So definitely want to keep those people in our prayers as they rebuild and have to bury some family members. It's never a good time. So we definitely want to keep them in our prayers as we move forward. We will talk about that particular situation. We tracked that cell for well over 150 miles last night for about 3.5 to 4 hours of tornado warned activity from one cell. almost the entire state of Tennessee. It was pretty crazy to watch. I wanted to go live, but we were having some very minor technical difficulties with some audio, so I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt a very intense moment because of some technical difficulties. So I apologize that I was not live for that. I really wanted to be, but we were watching, and I was trying to post and keep up to date. On everything that was going on throughout that. I chose to follow that one cell, and it paid off following it. There were a few other areas that had some tornado activity, and the reports are starting to come out on those as well. So, but this line here seemed to really do some damage across the state. So, but anyway, we'll talk about that on Sunday during the Coastal Cast episode. Tonight, I want to hone in on this winter weather here for the Northeast. So we're going to kind of switch over here to our radar, and we're going to look at some information here from the Storm Prediction Center. As you can see, you'll see on models there will be some rain, freezing rain, snow in portions of Pennsylvania as well. So this area here, even though it's not highlighted by the National or the Storm Prediction Center, does not mean they're not going to be getting any kind of winter activity. We do have this one location down here in Maryland, near Cumberland, Maryland, that we're watching for some significant icing, as well as down here in West Virginia for some significant icing. So, you know what? I want to change this to red. I hate blue. Anyway, that's my OCD talking. So, but so as we want to hone in here on these areas right up in here to kind of start. These are going to be the areas that we're going to see the most impacts as far as snow goes. So portions like Syracuse here and Utica and these portions east over through Boston and Providence, Rhode Island, areas like this are looking at anywhere 4+ inches. So definitely a significant amount of snowfall over the weekend here. So we're going to look at probable accumulations here in just a few moments. But anywhere in this Ithaca down to Poughkeepsie, Bridgeport, Southport, Nantucket, you're in that moderate risk of 4 inches plus. So you're definitely going to see some snow if you're anywhere in these areas. Snow, slight risk here for Elmira. Buffalo's kind of on the border there, Hamilton up into Toronto, the down towards New City, and a couple other places down here near in Carbondale, Pennsylvania, Towanda, down near Scranton is kind of in that little bit of snow there as well for the 4+ region. This is a little bit higher altitude here, so definitely looking at 4+ inches there, slight risk. So either way, accumulating snow is going to be happening in this region of the Northeast, and we'll talk about accumulations here relatively shortly on what we're looking at as far as accumulation goes. Now, as we get down into this portion of Maryland, down here near Cumberland, Maryland, we're looking at a slight risk of icing greater than 1/4 of an inch. So we could see a small amount of icing here, as well as down here in West Virginia, slight risk of 1/4 of an inch or more ice. Now, just because there's nothing on here does not mean you're not going to have impacts. So what are we talking about as far as impacts here? We're going to turn these off, and we're going to go to severity index, days 1 through 3, and we're going to look at the weekend here. So places like Lancaster, Pennsylvania, minor impacts there, and those minor impacts, winter driving conditions, obviously we're going to be using caution. So we could, when we start talking about the accumulations, you'll really start to see how these different effects and the hazards are going to kind of take shape here. Now, as we're looking out here again towards that. We've got down into Frostburg, Maryland, and kind of right on to that West Virginia border. We're looking at those moderate impacts. Freezing rain, sleet, probably going to be the culprit in this area as well. And as we the New England Northeast, down near Boston, we've got major impacts here towards the city of Boston and surrounding areas, Burlington, Lexington, Lawrence. You're all in that major impacts. And what does that include? Dangerous or impossible driving conditions, widespread closures, disruptions to infrastructure. So, we definitely want to pay attention here. And these are those areas that we're going to be seeing those large amounts of snow with this storm. This is a very fast moving system. So this, it's going to be in and out very quickly. So it's going to be dumping a lot of snow at one time very quickly, kind of similar to the Myrtle Beach event, 12 hours, we got 6 inches of snow very quickly. It was in and out of here. So we want to pay attention to some of these areas. This extends all the way west in Minneapolis, Minnesota is in it, and all of these other areas where you see this winter weather area as well. As far as impacts go, minor impacts for these areas as well. So definitely something to keep an eye on here for the next couple days as we move through the weekend, and more to come after that. We're watching several systems looking to work their way in and through the Northeast as well, some of which may bring some impacts down here, not in the form of snow, thank goodness, but we will be looking at the potential for some rain or thunderstorms as well with some of these systems, as models are showing extending out through the next couple weeks, really far out there to be able to determine exactly what's going to be happening. But we do run that risk with the way the pattern is right now in the jet stream. Now, as we start talking about timing, we're going to switch over here. I'm going to get rid of all of this. Get rid of that severity index. And we're going to start looking at a little bit of models here and start talking about timing and see if we can hone in on what our timing is going to be looking like for these areas as we kind of move through. We're going to start with the GFS model and start with precipitation type as we move through the next 24, 48 hours and get into this system. So here we are tomorrow at 7 a.m. By 10 a.m., you got some freezing precipitation working in Harrisburg areas, looking at snow already at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We got the York, Lancaster, Harrisburg looking at snow. Pretty good snow band working way through there by 10 a.m. or 1 p.m. tomorrow. We're looking at freezing rain here for the Cumberland area. That highlighted area, there's freezing rain already, so pretty heavy freezing rain at that point. Now this is a little bit higher of an elevation, so you can kind of see that mountain range here where a lot of that freezing rain is occurring because it's a lot cooler up there in those higher altitudes, but pretty much around it, everything else is going to be rain at that point. Uniontown area, they're looking to be rain at that point. And then as we kind of move through, let me zoom back out here and so you can get the bigger picture. As we move through the day by 4 p.m., rain and freezing rain and sleet has pretty much taken over most of those areas. Still transitioning to that rain out here near Wheeling, West Virginia, Morgantown, West Virginia, and Pittsburgh is kind of right on the line of that freezing precipitation. Up here, Cleveland, Ohio, Detroit, all in that snow bands at that point. So by 7 p.m., definitely transitioning to a little bit heavier of our freezing rain, extending into areas of York, Lancaster, Harrisburg area, out to Sunbury, Bloomsburg, Williamsport, and further east, Scranton area, Philadelphia, getting close to that snow transition there. Philly's still showing some sleet and freezing rain at that point by 7 p.m. And as we move through, obviously, all of this area here is going to be all snow. And we know that just by looking at that impacts and the Storm Prediction Center's forecast for these areas. So as we are, this is going to be 1 a.m. on Sunday. Everything by 1 a.m., everything's gone for the Harrisburg, Lancaster, Pittsburgh, Uniontown, those areas. Everything's out of there. We may see some lingering showers as we move through the early morning hours on Sunday, but we will be clearing out there. We do have some lingering precipitation here with a minor freezing line down near Richmond, Roanoke, Lynchburg, Farmville, Petersburg, Gloucester Point, all looking to be receiving probably a little bit of snow there at 1 a.m. Going on into Monday. So, and here's where we're looking down here in Myrtle Beach. Let's see what this system is looking to bring us according to the GFS model as we work through the weekend here for Myrtle Beach. We'll zoom in here to get South Carolina. So overnight tonight, we could see some scattered showers, the chance of a scattered shower or two as we move through the night tonight, and through the day tomorrow, staying pretty dry for the most part, but we will run that risk. This is going into Sunday, chance of showers, scattered showers, and then into the overnight hours on Sunday, that chance for some rain and scattered showers and rain as we move through the overnight hours. And through the day on Monday, still seeing a chance of scattered showers at that point. And here we are, 10 p.m. on Monday, moving into Tuesday. Still that chance for the rain here in Myrtle Beach as well, which is also, as we get out to Tuesday, just make sure I have my days right. Yep. So as we're out to Tuesday, 4 a.m. Tuesday, we're setting up here for yet another round of snow. At this point, looks like this one's going to be mostly snow for these portions moving up into the northeast as well. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that. I can run it out here, still a little ways out here, but we don't really have a set forecast on this as of yet, but we are watching these areas. So far, it looks like this is going to kind of stay south and more of an effect on the Richmond area as well, but we're going to be taking a close look at that. Maybe could even bring some freezing rain and sleet potential to parts of North Carolina as well, extending even in close to Raleigh with some freezing rain and snow right up along the border between Virginia and North Carolina as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. If I feel like I need to go live on that, I will definitely do so. But for now, we want to pay attention to the northeast. Now let's run over here on the GFS and we will look at accumulations here. So total snowfall, we'll start with that as we run through the weekend. We'll let that load here. I was kind of moving around. as we run through the weekend here, these are snowfall totals, not freezing rain totals. You can kind of see, again, where the large amounts of snow are going to be falling. Now that I'm going to run this out to, we'll run this out to Monday morning, just so we can get a better idea. Actually, we'll run it right through. We'll run it through 10 p.m. on Monday. You can see down here Richmond, Virginia Beach, down into North Carolina, looking at some accumulating snow chances as well. Not much. I mean, maybe there's 2.5 inches there, Lynchburg area, and looking down into Durham, about a half near Durham, Hendersonville. We're looking at a half an inch to an inch. This is possible stow here. This is only one model. This is the GFS, but you could see these very high amounts, 8.2 inches, and getting into the 10.5. And this is the area over here in Boston where you saw that major impacts. This area right in here, you were seeing that major impact. So you're looking 9+ inches of snow for those portions of the state. So very, very impactful snow there as well. Let's check out our friends here in Poughkeepsie, see what we're looking at. About 8.5 inches of snow there for Tammy in near Poughkeepsie. Pretty impactful storm as we get into Pennsylvania, the northeast portion of Pennsylvania. Still looking at 7 to 9 inches roughly. And then Scranton, we're looking at 4 to 4.5 inches. So we can check out the Euro here and see what the Euro wants to show us as far as accumulating snow. Well, the Euro doesn't want to give us that on here, so let's check. We'll go back to the GFS and we will look at freezing rain through Monday. So 10 p.m., we're going out to 10 p.m. on Monday. You can see the freezing rain potential for these areas of York, Lancaster. Harrisburg looks to kind of have a little bit of a hole here, but not sure what that's about. But definitely still a risk in this area. Elizabethtown, Harrisburg, Hershey, definitely not out of the woods as far as freezing rain potential. But let's take a look at, there's a little over 1/10 of an inch. There's right below 1/4 of an inch there in Lancaster. So anywhere from, here out here, these are those areas that we were kind of watching. There's a little over 1/4 of an inch going up towards, we got Phillipsburg, Warriors Mark, Bellwood, Dean, those areas of Pennsylvania just north of Altoona, all looking at that up to 1/4 of an inch of ice as well. Getting down into portions of southern York County, Pennsylvania, less than 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation. So really, really not too impactful on this one. I actually think this storm's a little bit weaker than the one that came through the other day, bringing some freezing precipitation to a lot of portions of Pennsylvania there. So especially the southern portion, south central and southwest Pennsylvania as well. So not a whole lot of accumulation on that model run. We're going to run over here to real quick on the regional. We'll bring up the NAM here. That's going to get us out far enough and let that load here. And we'll run that out. to Monday as well, or as far as we can here. So the NAM's going to be a little bit more aggressive. This is through 10 p.m. on Monday. A little bit more aggressive on the totals here for as far as ice goes. So let's putting Somerset out there over an inch of ice accumulation. I think this is definitely not going to happen, but pretty crazy amounts. And this kind of fills in that Harrisburg area as well, where we were seeing there's 1/10 of an inch. Ephrata, Lancaster, a little over 1/4 of an inch. So there's could be some isolated areas that will receive a little bit more in the way of ice than what the Storm Prediction Center is actually showing. They're looking at the overall majority. So you will have some isolated areas that do receive just a little bit more ice than other areas. Looking out into Philadelphia, 1/4 of an inch of ice as well. So this model run here, definitely very aggressive on the ice accumulation. Is it impossible? No. Is it likely? Probably not. This is a little bit less likely of a scenario as fast as this system is moving. It's just going to be really, really hard to accumulate, an inch, almost an inch and a quarter at this point. So very, very tough in that short amount of time, but definitely something to watch as we go through. Now we'll bring up one more here, and it's going to be the HER model. If it's going to get us out, we'll see. This is usually, and I have to go back a model run here. I'll go back to the 23Z. We'll run that out as far as we can. That's only going to get us out to 12 p.m. tomorrow, so not going to get us out far enough there. We can follow up. I will post an image of this tomorrow as we get a little bit closer to the start, and I will probably give some final accumulation numbers on what I think we're going to be looking at there. So we're still, 12 hours out from this, a little over 12 hours out from the start of this. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it as we move forward throughout the day. But again, like I said, the models, let's see. We'll come back here. We'll go back to the NAM, and we will take a peek at what the NAM's showing as far as timing. So the NAM's pretty consistent on timing there, 10:11 a.m. tomorrow. The NAM actually shows a pretty good amount of snow in the Somerset, Chambersburg, Hagerstown, Frederick, Washington, D.C. area, extending freezing rain out through Uniontown, out in Wheeling, West Virginia. So this is actually a little more aggressive on the rain, the freezing rain, should I say, and then the sleet behind that here, parts like Culpeper, California, Fredericksburg, Maryland, Manassas, Maryland, right at Winchester's, Virginia's right on that line of that snow and sleet line, but extending in and quickly into York County, York, Lancaster, Harrisburg by 2 p.m., and then eventually by 5 p.m. switching to that sleet. So you could see some pretty aggressive amounts of accumulation of sleet here in the Harrisburg, Lebanon, Ephrata, Lancaster, York area. And Uniontown, Pittsburgh switching all over to rain here before it's all said and done by 11 p.m. on Saturday. So let's check out really fast. We'll pull up just for giggles here. We'll pull up the wrap and see if that's going to get us. Let me go back one model run here. We'll go to the 23Z on that one. See what time that gets us out to. So at least try and see a start time here. This is a little less aggressive as far as what it's bringing in. but still looking at 10, 11. This actually wants to bring in a little bit more rain. So it's really going to depend on temperatures here as we kind of move through what the temperatures are like. I can tell you right now, we'll switch to radar. We'll check some temperatures here. Let's start at the Pittsburgh area right now. Temperatures in the 20s or low 30s, pretty much around. Hagerstown, Martinsburg, Winchester, all close to 40. So that front's right in here, bringing that warm sector kind of right up. Let's bring up fronts here and see where they were. This is going to be as of like 4 p.m., so it's going to be a little bit off. But here you can see that northern nose of that stationary front right in here. So you can see cooler temperatures back here to the west of that, a little bit warmer as you go forward, but still pretty close in temperature. Definitely got that cold nose of the jet stream dipping down. This is that cold air that's locked into these areas, and that's what's causing a lot of that freezing precipitation. So this area right in here is all kind of caught in that cold air. My cursor went a little crazy there. So this right in here is all kind of caught into that warm, that cold trapped air of the jet stream. So where the jet stream is dipping down, and this is shooting that warm air up in to where we're converging, and that's bringing along with it a lot of that moisture coming out from the all of this moisture in California. So it's kind of doing this. If we bring up our cursor, storms are entering here, shooting across kind of here, and then right up through the northeast. That's where they're heading. So anywhere in these areas here are in it for the next couple, maybe the next couple of weeks. But that's kind of what the pattern's looking like. Now we are seeing what could be a nice shift later on in the month, which will also bring a little bit of cooler air down this way. So we're actually kind of seeing a shift in the jet stream, kind of something like this, where the jet stream's really dipping down. So kind of hard to draw. I'm not an artist, so. But current temperatures definitely borderline for that freezing rain, sleet as we move through the night and into the morning hours. So we'll keep an eye on this, and I will let you know if there's any major changes. But my friends up here in the Northeast, since you got all the weather, you get all the attention and all the focus. Meanwhile, down here in Myrtle Beach, some scattered showers and things like that. Nothing for us at the current moment. This front's going to remain stationary, and then eventually Sunday night move through the area as a cold front, bringing us some cooler temperatures to start the week. And then eventually we'll get another warm up as we go through the rest of the week. But that's it for now for this storm coverage. Thank you for joining me this evening, and I look forward to seeing you guys back again here in the near future for another update on what is going to happen here as we kind of move forward. If you haven't done so, please subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you here again soon. Thank you.